Hello friends, in this video we will be covering the important appointments which were in the news from May to June 2021. This will be covered in both SSC as well as in UPSC exam viewpoint. Moving on to the first appointment. Abdullah Shahid. Abdullah Shahid is the current Foreign Minister of Maldives and he was elected as the President of the United Nations General Assembly or short UNGA for the period 2021. So now let's talk about the United Nations General Assembly. The United Nations General Assembly is one of the 6 organs of UN. UN has 6 important organs. These are the General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, Secretariat and the International Court of Justice. And among these, the first 5, these organs are headquartered at the New York. And the last one, the ICJ or the International Court of Justice is headquartered in Hague. Hague is in Netherlands. The headquarters of these UN organs are often asked in both SSC as well as in UPSC exams. Now let us come back to UNGA. So, what is the duty or what is the function of UNGA? UNGA is the main deliberative and policy making and representative organ of the UN. Why it is called as the word representative? Because it has 193 member states. It represents the whole world or almost the whole world, and it is headquartered in New York. So now let us talk about the UNGA election. The UNGA election involves all these 193 member countries. Since all of them cannot compete, so how is this election procedure done? So the UNGA is divided into 5 zones. The first one is Asia Pacific. The second one, Western Europe. Then Eastern Europe. African, then Latin American and Caribbean states. So each year, based on these 5 geographical regions, the positions are rotated. So this year, it was the time for the Asia Pacific region. And in Asia Pacific region, this year, 2 countries competed for the presidency. And one was the Afghanistan and the other was Maldives. And Maldives was represented by the Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid. And Maldives won the election by majority. And do you know, as India is a member of the UN, India represented which country? So India represented Maldives. So that's about the UNGA election. Now let us move to the next appointment. The next is Antonio Guterres. Antonio Guterres is the current UN Secretary General who controls the administrative matters of the UN, and he is again re-elected as for the second 5-year term. So till 2021 he was the UN Secretary General. So again from 2021 to 2024-25 he is again elected as the UN Secretary General. So who appoints the Secretary General? The Secretary General is appointed by the General Assembly on the recommendation of the Security Council, the UN Security Council. The UN Security Council is one of the 6 organs of the UN and has an important role in the United Nations because the Security Council is the only organ which can pass binding resolutions on its members. So now let us talk about the Security Council. The Security Council composition consists of 15 members and these are divided into 2 categories. One is the permanent, the other is the non-permanent. The permanent members are 5. The permanent means they are always in the UN and the position does not changes. They are from the formation of UN till now and it will be continued. So the members are the US, Russia, China, France and UK. And these 5 permanent members has veto power in the Security Council. Veto power means if a decision is to be taken and voting is done between these 15 members, if any of these 5 permanent members, for example, a voting is done and everybody agrees, all 14 agrees, but the US doesn't agree. If the US doesn't agree, then that decision cannot be passed. That's veto. Veto means is a power to oppose or stop the decision. So this is a power given to the permanent members. In the UNGA, there are resolutions coming up to remove this permanent nature, and but since these vetoes are held by these members, they don't want to lose their power, so they are not doing anything. They use their veto and they will block the resolution. Now let's move to the 10 non-permanent members. As you can see, India is a non-permanent member of the UN. And other countries are Ireland, Kenya, Mexico and Norway. Now, the other countries Albania, Brazil, Gabon, Ghana and UAE. These 5 are important in the news as they are elected the latest recently, and for these non-permanent members are held for 2 years. Now let us move to the next one. Rebecca Grinspan. Rebecca Grinspan is appointed as the Secretary General of UNCTAD, or abbreviated as the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So what is UNCTAD? UNCTAD is a permanent intergovernmental body and it is formed on 1964, headquartered in Geneva in Switzerland. Is India a member? Yes, India is a member. And the UNCTAD publishes many reports, and one of the important report is the World Investment Report. The World Investment Report was published recently and it's important in the news. So, what does the report have to say about India? That will be our exam viewpoint. And the 2021 report says that India is the 5th largest FDI recipient in the world. So, FDI means foreign direct investment. That if US company invests $10 million in India, it is the FDI investment by the US in India. So that's all about the appointments.